Anyway, let's talk about this stuff. Very important. So here's the question. Which is more beneficial, spirulina or moringa? And is chlorella considered the same? All right, well, good question, and might be a lot of people interested in that. And, well, it's interesting. Spirulina and chlorella are both algae, and they're and remember, keep in mind that they're, okay, let's just remember something about life. Okay, how does life happen? How does energy get into matter? Right? How does energy get into matter? Because that's what life is, right? The difference between a rock and a plant is that what? The plant is growing and it's alive and it's breathing, it's eating, it's doing all those things. The rock isn't. Okay, so what's going on? There's a chemistry inside the plant called redox chemistry, and that redox chemistry is all about reduction, oxidation, and antioxidation. It's all about sharing electrons, and I'm not going to get into the details because a lot of you don't want to hear it and don't care about it. Those that you do, we will have. I've been promised by the team. I have a team, by the way, of people that help me, that market this, that do this for me. I've been promising that really soon we're going to be having a membership thing where you guys can join a membership, and then we'll have all these private things where we can talk about, you can join it or not. We'll talk about things in detail. Like I'd love to talk about this. I'd love to do a whole thing on water. Do you know how, I don't know if you guys know how mind-boggling water is. And I don't know if you know how mind-boggling oxygen is. But anyway, so it's just oxygen and other stuff. It gets into what we call solid matter. And there's nothing solid in the universe, but it gets into solid matter. And there's this exchange of electrons and electricity. And we have what's called life. We have a bioelectric charge, and we have this thing called life. So that's what happens. Anyway, at the top of the chain, that which takes the light and turns it into electrons are plants. Okay? And algae are like the smallest plants, microscopic plants. And they do that. And so there's the blue-green algae. So spirulina and chlorella, both fresh water, not seawater, fresh water. Trying to keep it all on here. All fresh water. Algae. So anyway, pretty amazing. So the thing about chlorella. So to answer your question, I would forget the moringa. Moringa, I've looked. Moringa it's okay. It's okay. It's got really good stuff in it. I wouldn't say forget it. Drink it as tea. Enjoy it. But you're gonna get very little from it that you'll get from everywhere else. Right? You can really, hi Catherine, from Charleston, yay, South Carolina. I distract myself, what the heck. Anyway. These microscopic, so the moringa. So moringa is good, but it's got very low amounts of really essential nutrients like the amino acids and things like that. So it's not worth it. That's kind of not only my conclusion, but other people's conclusions. Yeah. There was one study I saw where it had 10 times the amount of vitamin A as carrots, 12 times the amount of vitamin C as orange, 17 times more calcium than milk, 15 times more potassium than bananas, 25 times. But that was for 100 grams. And from what I understand, it's hard to get anybody to eat 10 grams because it doesn't taste very good. So it's like really not a practical thing. And if you're getting 20 grams, you're getting, instead of the vitamin A from 10 carrots, you're getting the vitamin A from a quarter of a carrot, and et cetera, et cetera. So you can get all the same stuff from plants. But in terms of spirulina and chlorella, we're talking about magical foods. In fact, they both have all of the essential amino acids. I can read when it comes to spirulina, some say that there's 9 essential amino acids. You all remember what an essential amino acid is, right? An essential amino acid is very simple. What are amino acids? Amino acids are a nitrogen combined with carboxylic acid group. Okay, you don't need to know what that is. It doesn't matter. It's just that's what it is. That's why they call it an amino acid. Amino refers to the nitrogen part. 70% of the atmosphere is nitrogen. So what happens? That nitrogen gets combined with the carboxylic acid and you have an amino acid. And there are about 21 of them. That's it. That's it. They are the building blocks of all proteins and all peptides. Okay? So for example, our body makes 300,000 peptides. Almost 297,000. Our body makes about 30,000 proteins. That's different. These are different combinations of these amino acids that are formed on plants by microorganisms. So, where do you get your protein? I get my protein from eating meat. It ain't meat. It's a dead corpse. Oh, well, there are no live corpses. Yes, there are. There's one in the White House. Shh, I didn't say that, right? You didn't hear that, did you, Instagram? Anyway, so going back to spirulina and chlorella. So 20 amino acids, all 20 can be made by plants. Only about 10 can be made by animals. But those animals need to have gotten what they call essential amino acids first. In other words, they have to get these amino acids, and then they can take those they have to get a certain number of amino acids that they cannot make, no matter what. And they take those and they modify them to make other ones, so they can get the whole complement, the whole 20, right? So yeah, so very, very, very important. To understand. And this stuff is simple, you guys. Don't say, oh my God, it's science. It's not, it's just words, okay? We're just words. And if I define the word for you, you can understand it, okay? Because you guys are way smarter than you think and way smarter than they want you to think that you are. But anyway, so that's it. That's what, wow, ขอบคุณมากครับที่ไหน นี่ไรรถเหรออ๋อขอบคุณมากครับว้าวดูมีอันนี้แล้วอะไรดีมากกว่า so anyway we make I lost these by the way so that's what happened anyway so okay, so anyway, we need to get all animals have what they call essential amino acids that they need. All right, and once they have those, they can make all the rest. Now it's very interesting though. And I want to do like when we finally get our membership going. One of the things I want to do for those who are really interested in boring stuff, I want to do one on microorganisms because microorganisms blow me away. Microorganisms, by the way, are the context in which biology exists. If you can comprehend what that means. Without microorganisms are the soil of life. They are the fundamentals of all things. They're responsible. They do everything that we need. And I will go into that in detail for those of you who like that level of boringness. Okay, so it'll be open to members. We'll be doing that, yes. From France, Evelyn. Very nice to hear from you because I thought most of you people would be asleep by now. Thank you for coming on. So anyway, so amino acids. Now, spirulina. So there are 9 essential amino acids that humans need, right? And we get them. So when they say that meat is what do they call it? I don't know. A good protein. Perfect protein, right? Because it's got all the essential amino acids. Yeah. But so do tons of plants. What the hell? How did elephants get so big? And how come they live so long? And why are they so strong? Where'd they get all that protein? Where did the horse get all this? I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous that we have to have this conversation again and 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 again, because people just don't get it for some reason. What's the reason? Why don't people get it when it comes to nutrition? You want to know why they don't get it? Because they don't want to change. Why don't doctors espouse the truth? Because if they espouse the truth, it'll screw up their whole profession. And more importantly, if they talk about what a healthy lifestyle is, then they're going to feel obligated to live it. So they're going to do everything they can to prove that. And they used to. Hey, go back to 1950. Go back to Time magazine. 8 out of 10 doctors recommended Chesterfield. Yeah. Which is a cigarette, by the way. I know you're Dr. Stiegel from Georgia. I don't. Sorry. Anyway, so spirulina, some places say it has 8, and some places says it has 9. I think it has all 9 essential amino acids. And if it does, what they think, I mean, is that it's low on lysine. You'd have to eat like a lot of spirulina to get all the lysine. But that's okay. You're not only eating spirulina. You're eating lots of food. You're eating salads. You're eating all kinds of stuff. If you're only eating one food, okay. But if you're only eating one food, guess what? Chlorella has got them all. But the thing about spirulina is spirulina's got your essential fatty acids and amino acids. And these guys, these algae also have all these micronutrients, all these incredible pigments that are so important, and minerals, manganese and zinc and really important stuff that, yeah. So, and spirulina's even got vitamin D, vitamin D2, and stuff like that. Because remember, vitamin D3 is what comes from animals. Vitamin D2 is what plants can make, including mushrooms. So, yeah. But anyway, so I wanted to make, yeah, getting back to spirulina. Spirulina is vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin A, the beta, the gamma, you name it. Right? So, it's just, it's outrageous. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. If you ate spirulina, and I don't know if any of you, most of you have gotten those pills, those spirulina pills, right? They're kind of chewy and chalky, and they taste good. If you like, how do you not like spirulina? I think it tastes good. But the real thing, growing fresh, the spirulina that they put in jars and you got to keep it in the refrigerator, and even in the refrigerator after 3 days it gets funky because it's completely organic matter. But anyway, they grow it in these big vats, in fresh water. Anyway, it's fantastic if you eat it like that. I used to get it here, and when I was in Bangkok, I was able to get it all the time. But just absolutely beautiful, fantastic. But it's like almost a pure food. It's like almost a pure food. If you were eating chlorella and spirulina and then a salad, and of course the nuts and seeds, you have a chia porridge. You have a chia porridge for breakfast. And your breakfast is when you break your fast, which can be at 11 a.m., noon. Okay, that's what breakfast is. It doesn't mean, I open my eyes, time to eat. Oh, I'm awake. Oh, I better eat. No. Eat, wake up, do all sorts of stuff before you start to eat. Because once you eat, you change your biochemistry. Did you ever notice that eating is a biochemical experiment? It is. I know that. I know that because every time I eat, I change. It changes me. I'm so aware of what happens to me when I eat. Yeah, it's when you eat, you change. You change your you biochemically change, and your mind changes, and everything. It's just it's incredible. In consultation with my urologist. Okay, I can't read all you guys' stuff. I'm gonna try to catch up on it all. Okay, because I love it. I love it. But you know how spaced out I get, right? I don't want to lose my train of thought. How much spirulina a day? Well, if you had the real deal, man, eat as much as well, at least a few teaspoons of the real deal. And the plant's about 10 grams. I mean, the dried stuff about 10 grams. Yeah, eat about 10 grams. Now, I want to give it to my patients that are cachectic. Cachectic is when you get to the place where you're breaking down you put that in that milk. Beautiful, Debbie. Beautiful. When if people get into cachexia, it's where their bodies actually breaking down their body for nutrients because they're with cancer. This happens with cancer, but cachexia happens with other conditions too, with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, lungs, and that can happen with any condition that's chronic and degenerative to the point of the person not eating much, losing their appetite, and that's it, right? And that's why cannabis is so fantastic, because cannabis, but the thing about cannabis, and we're going to do another thing, we're going to do a thing on cannabis too. The thing about cannabis is you got to smoke it for those effects. And so that's why you get a vaporizer, and you just take a small 1-2 hits off of a really powerful stuff, and you're done. You don't have to keep smoking, you don't have to hurt your lungs and all of that sort of thing. And if it's a good vaporizer, there's no combustion, so there should be no carbon monoxide, so it shouldn't be a big deal. But anyway, that stimulates appetite big time. It gets rid of nausea big time. So it's really, really good, and it mellows you out and all that sort of thing. So it's really good medicine in that regard. So eating is important. I recommend Easiac tea. I mean, Easiac tea is great stuff. If you can get it and you can do it and you can make it and it's part of your life, it's very good. It can give you a lot of really good, amazing nutrients. But it's one of those things that if you didn't get it, you'd still be okay if you did everything else, right? There's some of those things, like the one thing you can't do without really are nuts and seeds. I can't ever tell you how important it is. Okay. Oh, cool, Melanie. That's cool. You guys have that in Australia now, huh? All right. Fantastic. So, Australia's waking up too? Wow, that's beautiful. If Australia wakes up. Yeah. So anyway, but I mean, and like I was saying, the pigments, look, think about spirulina. It's got the phycocyanin, the sulfated polysaccharides, the gamma-linoleic acid. Whoa! But the other thing is too, when they look at what it does, what these things do, if you take up to 10 grams a day and you take it for a while, it stimulates your natural killer cells. It it actually fights cancer. It fights depression. It shuts down diabetes. It's got because the combination, the synergy, and there's the thing to keep in mind too. It's the synergy of life. Please get away from the allopathic mindset. And they are pathetic. Allopaths are pathetic and disgusting, and they're so boring. I don't know how they ever have children, but they do. They must bore each other in bed. They are disgustingly boring. But anyway, I never had one as a friend, and I never want one as a friend either. And these mythology doctors. But anyway, the allopathetic, they love to find isolated nutrients, and they go to places like like South America, to the Amazon, and they go find these indigenous peoples who have been taking care of people with really, with cancer and things like that for centuries, and they try to find a plant and they try to find one isolated nutrient, and then what do they want to do with that nutrient is that they want to modify it so they can patent it, and it's all about money. And I hope that these people that are all about money, that I want to get like at least $10 billion if we can, okay? And stuff it into their rectums. And just keep stuffing this money, this green paper, in hundreds, of course, right? Not mess around. Not tens and ones, but 20s, hundreds. Just stuff it into their rectum, okay? And just let's stuff that. Okay. I don't want, because I want them to take it with them when they die, okay? Because it's more important than every human life they've affected. Okay, I have no mercy on allopaths, none. And if any of you are listening, I have no mercy. No mercy. You know what you're doing. And if you're still in hospitals and you're still poisoning people, then when that car hits you, when that lightning strikes you, when you fall over, that's it, man. You earned it. You earned it. Allopathy should be called Rockefeller-pathy. Okay, that's what it is. All right? Be nice about it. Don't be so bad. They're not all bad. Yeah. If you keep doing something that you know is harming someone, what is that? But they don't know. So if they don't know, shouldn't they find out? Since their job is to help people. Shouldn't they find out if they're really helping people? Yes. Okay. I'm telling you, man. I don't know. I have no mercy on these allopaths. So the allopathetics want to find this one ingredient in everything. And that's why, and one of the arguments for thermally degenerating food, aka cooking, is that if you boil really a long time, if you simmer really a long time the tomatoes, you get a lot more lycopene. And lycopene is blah, 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 blah. Okay, so but it turns out, I've been all over, and I can't find lycopene trees. No lycopene trees. So what am I going to say? Okay, God screwed up again. Forgot to give us lycopene trees. Now we got to simmer the tomatoes for a long time to get all that lycopene. All right, so what I'm saying to you is this. You don't need lycopene, just lycopene. You need it with everything else that's in the tomato. It's a synergy that we cannot comprehend. And life is synergy. And all the plants. A salad shouldn't be called a salad. It should be called a synergy dinner. A synergy meal. Let's have some synergy. It's everything. Okay? So, anyway. Okay. All right. Sorry, I get carried away. Yeah, so the spirulina, I can't say enough about them. Get it? Yeah, use it. Spirulina and Chlorella. You mentioned vitamin C for triple negative breast cancer. Last video, how much IV to? Any other tips for this kind? Well, okay, vitamin C, we many times have discussed the fact that vitamin C is it's a vitamin only to certain organisms that don't have an enzyme L-gulanolactone, right? And they can't, of the animal species, because plants make it usually from a different kind of sugar, but it's all made from sugar. And it's a 6-carbon molecule, and comes from glucose, and it gets turned into vitamin C. In fact, if you saw a picture if you saw on one of my videos, you might have seen there was I had next to I think it was several videos, but anyway, right next to the vitamin C, I have to the ascorbic acid. I have a glucose molecule, and it's like really hard to tell. You got to be like a chemist to know the difference. Oh yeah, it's got that hydroxyl group there instead of that other one, and yeah, they're really close. Okay, so anyway, it's that one spot, only that one spot. This is God's sense of humor. You understand that, right? There's one place that itches and you can't reach it. Yeah. Anyway, so vitamin C. So now, all animals make it. All plants make it. All microorganisms make it. It's essential to life. It's called ascorbates. It's an electron donor. Because remember, we talked about the chemistry of life is called redox, which is transferring of electrons. And the flow of electrons is energy, is life in biological systems. That's what it's called electricity, the flow of electrons. That's what an EKG shows us. And you got a flat line, you got no flow of electrons, you're dead. You got a flat line in your brain dead. It's the flow of electrons. These electrons are transferred through redox molecules. That's life. That's what life's about. Redox biochemistry. Okay? So now, ascorbates are part of that. So there's a certain amount of ascorbates. So dogs make it, cats make it, elephants make it, giraffes make it. They all make it. Okay? Except for fruit bats and a few others. Okay? So here's the thing. Yeah, Dr. Mercola's is good to take, but I would still do, yeah, you can still do that because you're going to absorb it. Dr. Mercola's is great and it's good, and you're on the run, and you can't, yeah, but you still got that bottle with you. You still got to get, so you can do both, the Dr. Mercola's, and then what I also recommend is you've got to take the oral all day long, because we need to be absorbing small amounts, 50 milligrams, 100 milligrams, and all that. Now, there's a vitamin C that I use, that I only used IV. It's called Pure C, and every place I've ever worked, that's all I use. Is Pure C, and it's what Cathcart used. It's what the original vitamin C guys used. That's it. It's just vitamin C, IV. All right. Now the problem is, what I've learned over the years is that you can give, 50 grams to this person, 50 grams to that person, 50, and get all these different plasma ascorbate levels. In other words, it's not going to have the same effect because why? Because each person has a different level of deficit, right? Of physiological deficit, because vitamin C is essential to life. Therefore, very, very important that people are getting their vitamin C all day long. So to answer that question, be taking vitamin C all day long, and get the vitamin, and then get the IV vitamin C a couple times a week, minimum of 2 times a week. How high you want to get the plasma ascorbate level up to 350 milligrams per deciliter, 350 milligrams per deciliter of plasma ascorbate. That's what you want to get up to, okay? You want to do, if you also got triple negative breast cancer, you want to do intravenous curcumin, intravenous quercetin. You want to do UVI and ozone if you can. You got to do all the stuff about colonics and all that sort of thing. Triple negative. Remember, it's just as bad to have triple positive as the triple negative. None of them are bad. They're all the same. It's all the same. Don't let them fool you. Don't use their words. Don't play their paradigm. Don't get diagnosed because you've been cursed. We should change the word diagnosis to curse. It's a curse. They've cursed you. Don't take it. Don't accept it. Don't accept it. That's not who you are. That's not who you are. You are a living, dynamic being who will not be the same in 5 minutes that you were 5 minutes ago. You won't be the same. You're changing, so you're not this thing that they're calling you. Well, I don't care what it is. That's not what you are. Okay? We are not a thing that you can put in one word. We are dynamic happenings, beings. Not, okay? Get it? Get that, okay? So don't let them diagnose you. It's really hard for me not to swear because I get angry. I get really angry. Okay, so question was here, how do I take ivermectin, fenbendazole, niclosamine before meals, with meals, empty stomach, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, you're gonna take them 3 times a day, get them, the fenbendazole you gotta take with meals. You can take mebendazole. Fenbendazole is better with meals, it's just absorbed better. It doesn't mean you have to do it, but I mean, it's good. The other ones, it doesn't matter. Don't worry too much about, just do them all day long. Do them 3 times a day. Very, very important. Very, very important. But you got the niclosamide, you got the ivermectin, you got the fenbendazole. That's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So keep it up. Yeah, just if you're going to do that, take the fenbendazole with the meal and the other ones without it. That's one way to do it. Okay. So here we go. We got let's see. All right. So now, your thoughts on LDM tincture for liver cleansing, Lomatium dissectum. Well, Lomatium dissectum is actually it's used a lot in botanical medicine. It's actually really good for like an antiviral if viruses exist. It's a good antibiotic, things like that. How much ivermectin? Usually 12 milligrams 3 times a day, usually. Can be more, rarely less. Anyway, but for liver cleansing, you can't just cleanse the liver. You can do things that the liver needs, like the liver needs, alpha lipoic acid is really good for the liver. Silymarin is an herb really good for the liver. Phosphatidylcholine, really good for the liver and other things. Vitamin C is really good for the liver. I wouldn't put this in the same category, the LDM. And in terms of liver detox, if you just do it, you want to do a liver detox, do some colonics and do just drink green juice. Okay, remember, and this is, again, another point that everyone has got to keep in mind. And that is, you cannot detoxify one organ system because we are not made up of organ systems. Okay, we are one thing. Our body is one thing. In fact, our mind, body, spirit complex is one thing. We divide it into mind, body, and spirit so we can talk about it. But where does the mind end and the spirit begin? Where does the mind end and the body begin? How do these things interact? What is the body? The body is physical and the spirit's not. So what is the body? It's made of atoms. What are atoms? We got spinning electrons and neutrons. What are they? Get into it, and there's nothing there. So it's all one thing. Remember, it's all one thing. It's all one thing. It's frequencies. It's one thing. It's what it is. All right? Okay, that you got to keep in mind. All right? I know a lot of you want to get into some details of things, and we'll got to get into it in a minute, but you got to understand these broad things, these broader things, because they're important for your mind, because your mind's running. Your mind is where the immune system's following it like a blind idiot. Your immune system is a blind idiot following by sniffing the mind. Okay, the immune system is the shadow of the mind. It can't help it. That's what it does. Okay, so you got to get your mind under control. All right, and that's by learning to shut up, learning to shut the mind up. The alternative to colonics, if you can't afford it, is enemas. You get yourself an enema bag and give yourself enemas every day. Cleansing enema with salt water. Couple liters in the morning, couple liters in the afternoon. Yeah, clean it out, that's all. No problem, you don't have to get colonics. And then fast, do some fasting and cleansing. Drink a lot of juice, and when you eat salads, eat a lot of salads, get a lot of fiber in there. Because the whole idea is you got to get that fiber, which is cellulose, get it in there, goes through, and it cleans out, sweeps the cecum, sweeps it, cleans it. Keeps it all clean, keeps it all moving, keeps it all flowing, and you get no areas there where there's things that can hang out for a long time. Anyway, let me close the back now because it's getting kind of light and bright and weird. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Excuse me. Is that okay? That's better, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's better, I think. It's the same when I sit down, right? Kind of messes it up. All right. Let's close this then. There we go. Cool. All right. Yeah. Dark. It's white. Okay, now. Stop. So anyway, that's my thoughts on LDM. It's good. It's good antiviral. It's good antibacterial, things like that. But for the liver, remember, if you you can't cleanse one system because you can't just cleanse the heart and not cleanse the rest of the body. You can't cleanse the liver and not cleanse the rest of the body. You can't cleanse the kidneys and not cleanse the rest of the body. The body is one thing that's all cleansing or not. It's either if you're eating, the whole body's dealing with it. If you're not eating, then the whole body starts to clean. Cleansing takes place when you stop eating. Okay, when you stop toxifying. Okay, you get away from it, you just drink water, you stop, and then your body starts to cleanse. Or you just drink juices, now your body's learning how to deal with just this liquid diet. And you drink lots of it to clean out. So there's different purposes for juicing and different purposes for water passing. But anyway, so if you want to clean out your liver, that's what I would do. I would do a big, long juice fast, feast. Yeah, and that'll clean out your liver big time. Believe me, big time. And in there, you put in all the good stuff. Put in some, all the good stuff, parsley and, whatever, all the really good stuff. You stop taking supplements during that time. Okay, now, best form of magnesium is the question. And again, there are like 4 different kinds. Magnesium glycinate. There is magnesium. What else? Citrate and magnesium oxide, magnesium carbonate. I think those are the main ones, right? So anyway, I think the best is the magnesium glycinate. That's it's chelated to an amino acid called glycine, so very easily absorbed. You get the magnesium into you very easily. So that's really, I think, the best form in terms of getting magnesium into you. How much should you take? I would take 500 milligrams 2-3 times a day, because you wouldn't believe how we're really magnesium deficient. We don't think about magnesium. Even when doctors order blood tests, they don't order magnesium. They order electrolytes, which doesn't include magnesium. Electrolytes include sodium chloride, bicarb, and potassium. That's it. It doesn't include magnesium, which is like essential. In fact, wherever there's potassium, there's usually magnesium. And so, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Selenium, ALA, milk thistle with Bert Bergson's protocol. Right. Yeah. So anyway, so that, magnesium glycinate, the magnesium citrate actually is really good for bowels. If you take a few teaspoons of that at night, in the morning, take it in the morning, it'll help you move your bowels. It's really good. You can also take ascorbic acid to help you move your bowels and things like that. Yeah, it's very good. And then there are other ones too. There's magnesium oxide and magnesium carbonate and all that. Carbonate is good for your stomach because it turns into magnesium chloride in your stomach. But again, just for getting magnesium, I would say magnesium glycinate. It's chelated to glycine. Okay, so we got a lot. I wonder. I'll go to another group here, but my lecturer told me that alkaline diets are bad because they disturb calcium absorption and harm the what? Where is the other part of that? Well, I don't know who your lecturer is, and I'm not sure what alkaline diets are. But remember, I don't know what people call alkaline diets, but remember, the pH of the blood must be somewhere between 7.35 and 7.45. The body will keep it there almost no matter what. If it goes above or below that, if it gets too alkaline, you're in trouble. If it gets too acidic, you're in trouble. Now, different parts of your body, like your stomach, has a pH that's very low, so it's very acidic. Your colon has a pH that's low. It's not as low as your stomach. It's like 6.8. That's pretty low. That's pretty acidic, but it has to be to prevent overgrowth of other things. And that's why you have acidophilus in there and stuff like that produce acid. And then you can have very alkaline duodenum and stuff like that. So it really depends. Okay, it really depends on the organs. Where in the body. So when you say alkaline diet, so when we talk about diet that's alkaline, what we want to get is a diet that is alkalinizing. And anything that has minerals in it is alkalinizing. Things that have magnesium, potassium, calcium are alkalinizing because they have that plus, right? Which means they're going to transfer electrons, which are alkalinity. Okay, that's what alkalinity is. It's electrons. That's what antioxidants are, electrons. Okay, it's all basically the same thing, just looking at them differently. Okay? So, if you don't worry about an alkaline diet, an alkalinizing diet, a diet that makes your body alkalinize. For example, if you drink alkaline water, you're going to neutralize your stomach acid, which is a really bad idea. Whereas if you drink green tea, which got a lot of magnesium in it, because everything green has got magnesium, and it's got calcium, and it's got iron, and it's got all these things are alkalinizing, so your body will absorb them, they'll get distributed to all of your tissues, and your tissues will get alkalinized. This is alkalinizing. So I don't know what an alkaline diet means, and I don't know who your lecturer is and all that sort of thing, so I don't really know how quite to answer that question, but anyway, that's that. So that's that. So we need to keep that in mind. And then our body will take care of it. Oh, here's a good one. Here, the best way to let go of fear after conventional doctors have said all their scary things. Okay, everybody, please listen to this, okay? When the conventional doctors say scary things, they're trained to do that, right? No, you don't need decaf green tea. Drink green tea. Don't worry. Caffeine's okay. There's nothing wrong with caffeine. Nothing wrong with caffeine. I mean, if, too much of it, yeah. But too much anything is not good. Too much oxygen will kill you. So, it's okay, green tea. Anyway, what was I? Where was I? That was, yeah. So conventional doctors say scary things, like they say, you're going to die if you don't do this. They say this is incurable and all that stuff. They're true. It's true. According to their knowledge and their way. They don't know anything. They don't know anything. They don't even know what cancer is. Most of the time they'll tell you, oh, well, it's either genes or bad luck. What the hell? It's neither. Neither. And guess what? It does have a cause. Just because you don't know it doesn't mean it doesn't have a cause. And by the way, everybody that goes to one of these conventional doctors and hears their sentence, here's the sorcery put upon them, gets diagnosed, in other words, gets cursed. Don't listen. But you get cursed and then you get sentenced. That's what they do. It's evil. Well, guess what? So everybody that gets that way and you leave and they never come back, these doctors have no data on these people. So these doctors don't know what happens to the people that don't listen to them. These doctors don't know what happens to the people that don't come back. Once again, these doctors, these allopaths, these conventional oncologists, and please call me Dr. Oncologist, call me. Let's talk about this. You don't know what happens to the people that don't come back to you, so don't ever tell anybody what will happen if they don't do what you say, because you don't know. And if you say what you don't know, and you're not wearing a white coat, we call it a lie. You're wearing a white coat, we say what? It's a medical opinion. Well, that's his opinion. Okay, it's really hard not to swear, you guys, really hard not to swear. I'm doing my best. So how do you let go of what they said? Because it's not true. And find out the truth. Find out that your body is engaging in 21 septillion chemical reactions every second. You're making 37 million new cells per second. And in a year from now, your body will be completely different, a new body than it is now. So you won't be what you are today. So don't keep doing what you're doing yesterday. Doesn't get much simpler than that, but that's just the way it is. That's just the truth. Yeah, your doctor said that Steve Jobs is an example. What did Steve Jobs do? Look into it. He didn't. He went back and forth. He vacillated, didn't do it. And he's not an example of anything except, how to do a great startup. Your doctor is, yeah. Anyway, just not true. And are we talking about natural? Well, this is integrative. Remember, guys, we're not talking about just eating broccoli. Although, anyway, we're not talking about just eating broccoli, but you got to eat broccoli. But anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about doing IVs. We're talking about if you need radiation, we're going to do it. If you need surgery, we're going to do it. If you don't, we're not. That's all. It's an integrative approach. It's using and understanding the biology of cancer to do everything that you need to do. All right. So sometimes we need to do surgery. We got a tumor that's blocking a vital function. There's no way out. You got to do surgery. You got a tumor growing in the brain quickly. We got to do radiation. Okay. So this is not alternative. This is integrative. Okay. So tell your doctors and your whatever that's what we do. We do integrative care for people. Okay. Integrative care. Okay. So we use the best of all healing disciplines, and we understand them all enough so we can do the right one at the right time. And we do multiple things at once. And what do we do with cancer? We know that cancer is really, really clever because you can poison it with the most toxic stuff and it likes it, whereas the rest of your body doesn't like it. So it's really pretty strong. So what are you going to do with cancer? You're going to overwhelm it. And that's our job, is to overwhelm the cancer. Wipe it out. It won't have the resources. Okay, that's what we do. Okay, let's go to the next question. Best therapy options for stress, anger, trauma, etc. Yeah, okay. This came up yesterday. I was involved in I was online with it was great, with the Elaine Segal. She has something called Conversations from My Kitchen, which is really pretty cool. And I'm not sure if it's weekly or not, but it was really nice. And I was on there. So anyway, when I was on there with this other doctor, a really amazing guy from India, Ayurvedic medicine. And so it was a really cool thing. And we were talking about this very same situation of anger, stress options. What we have to remember about cancer is that it's not we are not just biological organisms, okay? We are psychological, biological, and spiritual. Like I said, they're all one. They're not different things. Okay? Because in the end, what is the substance of the mind? No one knows. We're not talking about the brain, we're talking about the mind. What's the substance of the mind? When you figure it out, let me know. Okay, what's the substance of the spirit? Let me know. What's the substance of your body? Well, it's made of tissues, organs, okay? And they're made of molecules, and they're made of atoms, and they're made of protons and electrons. Okay, and what they're made of? What are they? Well, yeah, nobody knows. Okay, so anyway, the point is this. When we heal, when we need to heal on all levels, but especially. So remember, the tumors are just merely manifestations of what's going on in the tree. The roots of the tree of cancer are psychospiritual. And we've got to deal with it. It's very, very important. Okay, Michael. So what it up? I guess you're off now. Anyway, the roots are psychospiritual. So, Now, and we've said this before, and I'm going to just say it one more time because I can't say it enough, and that is 90% of our mind is subconscious. That is, we don't know what it is we're thinking, and therefore we don't know what it is we're telling ourselves, because we all have an involuntary thing going on inside of us called thinking. It's not voluntary, it's involuntary. And it can also be known as our internal dialogue. Internal dialogue is a term that was used by Ouspensky, if anyone knows who Ouspensky was, if anyone who knows who Gurdjieff was. He was Ouspensky's teacher. And back around 100 years ago, these guys were around. I don't know, most of you might not know them. But yeah, in the internal dialogue, the thinking and all that sort of thing. Now, psychologists, Western psychology has gotten into it. There was a great Western psychologist, Albert Ellis, who did something called rational emotive therapies. There was another guy named Fritz Perls who did Gestalt therapies. Amazing. Had to do with the mind and the body and all that sort of thing. And all that. So anyway, the point is this. You can't control the content of your thoughts. Your thoughts are going to happen, just like your heart is going to beat as long as it's going to beat. Your cells are secreting, your glands are secreting, so that's happening. Your body is happening, your life is happening. It's not a doing. You're not in charge of this. You think you're in charge of your life? You really think you're running the show? Huh? You think so? Okay. Think about it long and hard. Think about it long and hard. You're going to find out that life happens. Anyway, and what, as John Lennon said, it happens while you're busy making plans. All right, so life's happening. But anyway, the only power we have over the mind is to turn it off. And to turn it off, and we turn it off, and we can turn it off. And we have to. Why? Because, as I said before, the immune system is the shadow of the mind. And if you get regretful, mournful, angry, sad, fearful, any of that stuff, your immune system will go down, will be depressed, and that will not have good consequences for you on a physical level. Okay, so you need to learn to turn the mind off. And when you turn the mind off, you're going to find that you're in a place called the eternal now. Because the mind is everywhere but now. So the mind is in a place that's illusion. I won't go into that in detail right now, but it's a place of illusion. And so when your mind is turned off and you're here and now in the present, you're in the presence of God. That's where God lives now, here. And you're in bliss. You're in bliss. And your immune system is pumping, powerful. So we got to learn to turn off the mind. So the way to deal with all these things is to not deal with them, is to forget them. Western medicine, like what I learned as a psychologist, was something called systematic desensitization, which works really well. I would take someone with a situation that caused them a lot of anxiety, a lot of psychological pain when they thought about it, and then I would break that up into the least amount to the most, For example, they had a phobia, and the phobia was flying on a plane. So the worst part would be sitting on the plane, the engine starts, and you're like that. That would be the worst. The least would be you just decided with your husband or wife that you're going to take a plane somewhere together. So that's the least. And then the next one is going and calling up and making reservations. And then so each of them, and what are we talking about when we're talking about emotions, everybody? Emotions are the physiological correlates to thoughts. So thoughts that don't have physiological correlates are just called thoughts. They're not emotions. An emotion has a physiological correlate. So most people, except for perhaps PhDs in mathematics, have no emotional relationship to mathematics. And so when they think about a math, thought, it doesn't cause emotion. Unless you're saying, oh no, I just spent. And that's a math thought that might cause emotion. But I mean, in general, an equation shouldn't cause an emotion. And so there are thoughts that don't cause emotions. Driving, whatever. But a recipe, cooking. There are a lot of things that are thoughts without a physiological component. But if if the thought is associated with cortisol and adrenaline and all that sort of thing, then it's called an emotion. All right. So if you can break that connection, you've broken its you've broken its effect, its physiological effect. And that's what we did in psychology. It was called systematic desensitization. What I'm saying is in the East, they said, forget that. Just go way above the mind and turn it on. Transcend the mind. Don't fix it. You can't fix it. It is a broken thing. It's a good tool. It's going to get you lots of stuff. But, when you're not using it, don't turn it off. And that's what mantra is all about. If anybody knows what mantra is about putting it somewhere to keep it busy so it doesn't attack you. Listening to your breath is beautiful. Learn to listen to your breathing, because your breathing is you, is God in you, is your life. And when it's gone, you're gone. That aspect of you that is eternal is gone, and your body turns back to earth. Yeah. So, listening to your breathing, very important. But anyway, you got to transcend all this stuff. Now, it's a good point. Does the gut lining need nutrients to heal? Because most say that fasting heals the gut. Yes, fasting does heal the gut, because the body will do it. But fasting, now not everybody can fast. People that are well nourished can fast. All right. So if you've got somebody who's already in stage 4 cachexia, whose body is and they're nutrient deprived, they cannot. Fasting will not heal the gut. It'll heal it to some degree. I mean, some of the tight junctions will start to come together and all that. But for the most part, it will not. You need to be. I mean, let's try to get onto some scientific things, because you guys are interested in that. But yeah, and there's some really important, critical to the healing of the gut are shoebox. I'm not sure of your name, but shoebox photos. It needs nutrients to heal, yeah. And glutamine is the fuel. Glutamine is the fuel of the small intestines. The large intestines, the fuel is butyric acid, or butyrate. All right. Now, but also there are really, really important bacteria that are necessary for the gut, that help the gut repair itself. So getting a healthy bacteria. So yeah, there's not only nutrients, but there's more importantly, the microbiome is important for healing. But fasting works. But remember, fasting works when someone is already nourished. Okay, so yeah, okay, I get you. This is somebody on. Yeah. Okay, so here. Defecating 5 feet of waste daily seems impossible unless you eat more than 3 meals a day. 5 feet daily, I don't think I even eat enough to accomplish this. So what are the best ways? Okay, so this all comes from the fact that I reminded everyone that our colons are 5 feet long, and so unless you're putting 5 feet of waste in the toilet, you're keeping something in your colon. And yeah, but that didn't just come from today. That came from it's being stored. Okay, if you were cleaning out every day, it would probably be what you ate. So it might be 1 foot, 2 feet. Depends on what you ate. It didn't eat a lot, it wouldn't be through. But you're going to have 5 feet because you haven't been doing this for all your life. Okay, for the most part, you've got lots of stuff in there that needs to come out. As I told you, I had a woman with corn after like 30 years. A piece of corn came out. She hadn't had corn. So, I mean, you need to clean that out. Okay, because it's being reabsorbed, and the toxins are being reabsorbed back to your liver every 4 minutes. All right. So, yeah. Is coffee a toxin? Well, everything. Oxygen is a toxin, water is a toxin, or a nutrient, depending on the amount. Okay? We need what we need in the amount that we need, nothing more, nothing less. Now, coffee is okay. Coffee, if, organic coffee, drinking small amounts of it, like a cup, maybe 2 at most a day, fine. No big deal. Drink green tea, you'll get caffeine as well. But you get a lot of other things. The thing about green tea, I think is superior to coffee, is that it's got theanine, and it's got all these other amazing things. EGCG, it's like a medicine. It's really, really, really important. Yeah. This topic keeps coming up, and I can't. And the reason it keeps coming up is because nobody wants to. Let me. Where's my? Oh my gosh, I don't have it. I don't have it. Okay, well. Where's my water? Anyway. Here's the topic that comes up. Has to be with cooking food. Is my cooking food video still up on YouTube? Anyway. Okay. Traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, talk about cooking food. Ayurvedic medicine talks about uncooked food as being cold, and traditional Chinese medicine, again, cold depletes the kidneys of qi and things like that. Now, I agree with everything about these indigenous healing disciplines, except that. Okay. I do not think that God and God's blanket manifestation, physical appearance, called nature, made a mistake by not making tomato sauce. I think that everything in the tomato, or everything in the cucumber, or everything in the watermelon, or everything in the broccoli is perfect and doesn't need to be augmented with fire and does not need to be changed. And for that reason, I don't, and you don't, put our fingers in fire. We don't put our clothing in fire. We don't put our money in fire. We don't put anything we value into fire, because fire is destructive, period. Period. Okay? Now, fire is good if you're living in the North Pole and you're cold and you got a fire, it's going to warm you up. Okay? But you shouldn't be in the North Pole, because that's not where humans belong. We belong somewhere in the around the equator. That's where we came from. That's where we belong. Yeah, you can take a tuna fish and you can put them in a freshwater lake and hope it survives and do all kinds of stuff. Or you can take some fish out of the tropical oceans and make yourself a tropical fish tank, and they're going to stay alive. Okay, you want to live in a fish tank? You live in a fish tank. My thing is this. The thing is, I want to know where would be the best place for this body to be, so that it can get the most out of life. Because this body happens to be interwoven with the mind and the spirit that needs to be here for this reason. And if I can, so it turns out that this is where we're from, and our physiology is here. We should go to bed early, period. And nature and God made food perfectly, and every creature has everything it needs to exist because it came from that. It is someone's dinner and it eats. It's an exchange of energy. There's no requirement of fire anywhere. Okay, so yeah, Ayurveda says that, and I love Ayurveda, except that. I love TCM, I used to accept that. And all of them. I do not think, and I will never ever accept, that God blew it, made a mistake, and didn't cook. Well, he invented fire so that we would cook. Huh. All right. Okay, that's a great story. Well, I love stories. Wonderful story. Anyway, so story. But however, when we cook foods like Chinese make some amazing teas, TCM, Ayurvedic. So I don't agree with that whole thing with the doshas and that some people eat that, and I don't agree with the eat for your blood type. No. Mm-hmm. Horses have like 12 different, I forget what it is, 7, 8, 12 different blood types. Dogs have different blood types. They don't all need different things. This is all, I don't know why we get into this stuff. How do we get into it? Why? Do we get into it? We get into it because we're not connected to the wisdom of God through instinct. We were ripped away by our parents with the no, stop, don't imperatives. And, okay, let me answer that question. Anyway, so we were enculturated. So we grow up in Germany, we become good Germans. In Africa, we become good Africans and good Chinese and good Americans and all that sort of thing. And we eat the cuisine associated with those countries, and that's what we think is food. Nothing else is really food. Blah, 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 blah. Gotta eat monkey brain, gotta eat bull testicles, gotta eat lining of the gut, gotta eat whatever. Okay, all that stuff is just cultural stuff, all right? This is not hard to get, guys. You know, I don't know. Please let go. Maybe you need some ayahuasca. Maybe you need some LSD. Maybe you need something like that to let go. And just realize that the earth and all the creatures were made with everything they needed. We didn't have to invent all this stuff. Nothing that humans have made has made our life better. Nothing. So anyway, here's somebody here. Someone said, what to do with pain in the liver due to pancreatic cancer. Okay. Elena. If you've got pancreatic cancer and it's spread to the liver and it's causing pain, or even wherever it is, cancer that's causing pain, when cancer is causing pain, it's doing it because it is compressing a nerve bundle, some peripheral nerves, some pain nerves, or it's blocking a function, and the function is causing a buildup of pressure, or there's different things, but it's all due to a mass effect. It's due to something. It's due to the cancer. So clearly, the way you would really deal with it is to get rid of the cancer, of course, which is what you'd want to do. That's not always the easiest thing to accomplish. So, but there are ways of dealing with pain. Now, the way that I have found over the years of dealing with, and you got to get rid of the pain, because if you don't get rid of the pain and you've got chronic pain, your mind is not going to be free. Your mind is not going to be healing. Your mind is going to be in anguish. Your mind is going, and your immune system is going to be in trouble. So I hear you. The best thing that I have found is cannabis in very high doses, rectally. And I'm talking a minimum of 500 milligrams 2 times a day, maybe 3 times a day, maybe 800 milligrams twice a day, whatever. Okay, it's got to be extremely pure. I mean, it's purified less than 20 microns. Use filters that are less than 20 microns, less than 10 microns. Okay, and do it rectally so there's no psychoactive effect, because you can't take large amounts of cannabis, those large amounts, without getting extremely stoned, and that's not good. You're not happy, no one likes it. Cheech and Chong wouldn't like 500 milligrams twice a day, believe me. It's just too much, all right? So it's not, it's way different than taking a hit or two off some sativa to stimulate appetite, to stimulate, as an anti-nausea and things like that. Way different than we're talking about. We're talking about high doses for pain. And you can usually get off all narcotics, because narcotics will turn off the bowel. What they do is they stop peristalsis, which makes you constipated, but it also, that's at one end, the constipation. At the other end, you're not able to digest well, you're not able to absorb well, so it destroys digestion, it destroys absorption. So in other words, you're not getting the nutrition from your eating either, right? And the other thing is that these narcotics, these opiates, I don't care what they are, oxycodone, morphine, Demerol, Dilaudid, it doesn't matter what it is. They all lower your threshold for pain. What does that mean? That means that now what was not painful yesterday will be painful today, because your threshold is lower. In other words, you're more sensitive to things, noxious stimuli that causes pain. Right? That's what it does. And then finally, it suppresses natural killer cell function directly. So it's like, what? It's like the worst thing in the world. And it doesn't work. You got to keep taking more and more and more and more until you're dead. But cannabis will get you off that. So you got to do that. And if you're in a state where it's illegal, you got to get out of that state and go to a state where it's legal, or find a way of getting it somehow and get large amounts rectally and make sure it's as pure as possible. Okay. Okay, because remember, funguses I think are 20 microns, so you got to get below 20 microns, 10 microns. We had a source, right, that was like 3 microns, like amazing. Okay, so on the filtering process, very, very important. Okay, so that'll help you with the pain. Meanwhile, you got to get rid of the cancer, and you got to get rid of the cancer by getting rid of the cause of the cancer. You got to figure out what made. Okay, so just getting a diagnosis. Remember, what they call a diagnosis is merely a description of what the pathologist sees. She might see that it started in a gland, and it's got glandular components, so they're going to call it an adenocarcinoma. That's all. It's not anything special. Or it was in a duct, ductal carcinoma. Well, what has ducts? Anything that produces stuff. You got bile ducts, you got ducts in your breast, you got, anyway. So anyway, just getting a name on it just doesn't help. It doesn't tell you how you got it or how to get rid of it, which is what you'd hope a diagnosis would do for you. If you're getting information from a doctor and they're not telling you how you got this and how to get rid of it, then you don't need to talk to them. They're not helping you. That's what you need. Anything else is irrelevant, and it might be fun for them. Let them go talk to someone else about it. You don't need it. All right? Now, So we gotta find the cause. The cause can be hidden dental infections. The cause can easily be parasites that have gotten into and hanging out in the pancreas, in the liver, in the spleen, in the lungs, in the brain. They live in there. There's parasites in the body. There's all kinds of exposure to glyphosate and all kinds of horrible things. There's you name it. There's heavy metals. There's all sorts of things that are in our bodies, and so we've got to clean them out and stop the exposure and all that, and then eliminate the cancer with really good therapies like vitamin C and ozone, etc. You can do it, all that stuff. So you, who asked me that question, please, give me a call. Let me help you. That's what I do. You guys, that's what I do. I don't just do this on Sundays. Or I have a clinic. We've been around for a while, a long time. 17 years in Arizona, 5 years in New York. So we've been around. So I can help you. Give me a call. Let's have a consultation. No, the clinic is gone a long time ago. Oh wow, thank you, Paulette, thank you very much. The clinic in New York is long gone. When I left New York and moved to Arizona, there's a doctor that bought the clinic and he changed the name to his name, which was Linschitz. And it became known as the Linschitz Wellness Center. And I think it's still there. Poor guy died. But really wonderful human being. The Linschitz Wellness Center is still there. And I don't know if they're doing holistic integrative oncology. So that's it. I don't know who's in New York now. I don't know who's on the East Coast. Who knows what they're doing? There are a lot of people on the East Coast, but I don't know who knows what they're doing. I just don't know them. I'm not saying they're not there, because they are. All right, so here are we. So severe muscle cramps all over, not sure if it's B12, magnesium, or electrolytes. Yeah, well, you can take lots of magnesium and drink lots of green juices and eat lots of salads and make sure you're getting lots of good bioavailable minerals so that you're taking care of all that sort of thing. If that doesn't make it go away, I don't imagine that you're being exposed to something, because you're right. I mean, it should be. It sounds like magnesium or some sort of electrolytes, potassium specifically. Calcium is how the muscles move. Excuse me, you guys. But that's what I would start with. If you've got muscle cramps all over your body, I would start doing lots of organic green juice and eating lots of salads and making sure that you're getting all these bioavailable minerals. Get some of that liquid mineral stuff that you can get from Dr. Wallach. Dr. Wallach is the mineral guy, and drink some of his stuff. Make sure you have it. severe muscle cramps. But that's what's going on. What is an artificial life? The disease model is ridiculous. Yeah, that was one of the things I said. I know that got posted. What is an artificial life? That's really what we're doing right now. It's called artificial. Authentic, real lives are what happen in nature. What humans make is called artifact. If you're with an archaeologist and you want to find out if what they're looking for when they do digs, what they're looking for are artifacts. Artifacts means artificial, means humans were there. So anything that we make. So when we're our lives, we're here with electric lights, we're here with cameras, we're here with all this electrical, artificial nonsense. It's called artificial intelligence. We build furniture, we build houses, we live in boxes, we get it from one box, we go to another box. We go to another box in a box that has a motor on it, and then we get another box and we fly in the air, and we get another boxes, and we're living all these ways, and we're living artificial. We're not living natural lives. A natural life would mean that we got our feet on the ground, that we're there getting the wind in our face, we're smelling the beauties of nature. That's what a natural life would be. We're eating food that the earth produced, not that some factory made. We're putting in our bodies chemicals. No, that's an artificial life. Okay, so Colleen, it sounds like you had a Zoom with me in October and you wanted to ask about ivermectin, Fenbendazole. You can't do just one of them, and you can't do just ivermectin. You got to do several of them, and you should find out what really is the right one. And if I wish I had known you were going to Mexico. I'd say don't go to Mexico. Just go to Dr. Simon YU in St. Louis and find out exactly what's wrong and what you need. And that guy will tell you exactly. I mean, sorry, Hope for Cancer, but I wouldn't send anybody there, ever. But Dr. Simon Yu will tell you exactly what you need. Amazing master. So, get the niclosamide, very good, and get the Fenbendazole you can get online, and you can get ivermectin from whoever if you've got ivermectin, great. Then you need Fenbendazole and niclosamide. But it might be that you really need pyranthopomoate and something else, and tinidazole. But that's a good way to start with those three, and be consistent with them, and on and off and on and on and on and off. But Dr. Simon, you call him up, make an appointment. It's worth it. Thoughts on DCA for treatment? DCA. DCA is really amazing. It blocks glycolysis. It's really important. It's very helpful as an adjunct in whatever you're doing. Excellent. You can take it orally. You can get it IV. My thoughts are, do it daily. You got to be careful not to get a peripheral neuropathy, so you can't take more than, usually depends on how much, like 1,500 milligrams is probably too much for most people. So you work your way up, and you don't want to get the peripheral neuropathy from it. But you want to block, it's good, it blocks glycolysis, which is how cancer makes energy. So it's really good. But it's not the only way it makes energy. Cancer makes energy in other ways as well. But mostly glycolysis. Oh, wow. Okay. So anyway, you guys getting really late. What are your thoughts? Okay. So what are your thoughts on gut healing and food sensitivity testing? As I think you have said, not to worry about eating
worry as eating the proper way will take care of this. Also, how many parts per million of hydrogen should one have? Well, the molecular hydrogen, just, do it maybe 2-3 times a day. Take 3 tablets of the Dr. Mercola's because it's great. I don't know of any other products, so I can't tell you about them. But I just want to make sure that I'm getting the molecular hydrogen, so I do that. Whether or not you like Mercola, it doesn't matter. It's a really good product. Put 3 of them in a large glass of water. Drink it 2 to 3 times a day. They're good for like 60 minutes, 4 to 6 hours. About keep things going. So maybe 3 times a day, and that's good for all your exposure to EMF. Regarding I don't know. If you're around a lot of EMF for molecular hydrogen, just take as much as you can. The 3 times a day is fine. 3 times a day is fine if you take 3 times a day is fine. Regarding brain tumors, are infrared saunas helpful, or if so, near or far infrared spectrum? Any limitations, precautions? What other devices, instruments? Ideal ferritin level for. Well, listen, Ren, you've got a lot of questions, and they're good questions. And I don't know if this is metastatic, if it's a brain tumor that's come from the lungs or the breast or something, or if it's a primary brain tumor like a glioblastoma, a medulloblastoma, or I don't know. So there's so many other questions. Can you please, Ren, got to get in touch with me because there's a lot of questions. You're talking about a brain tumor. It's not something we can just do this, and you'll be fine. I got to understand you and what's going on. So, please get in touch with me. Ren, go to drlodi.com and make an appointment to see me. Doctor who for muscle cramps? I didn't say any doctor specifically for muscle cramps. I was talking with Dr. Yu, Y-U, Simon Yu, to find out about what's going on with you. Like do you have parasites? Do you have, so hemangio, parasitoma. All right, so again, primary, so what do we, your questions are, the ideal ferritin level on everybody is low. Your ferritin to iron ratio should be 1:1, and you should have enough iron, should be more than 60. So there's a lot more than just the question. What I'm saying is there's a lot more than just the questions you're asking, so that we should discuss. Because if I answer 1 or 2, you're going to want more. This is specific. It's detailed. It's very, very important. Please go to drlodi.com and let's have a consultation. This is important stuff, and it's going to take us a while to get to it all, to address it all. But that's what we would do for a ferritin level, Again, so another question from Bev here, is your protocol for treatment or for glioblastoma brain tumor that is non-operable? Yeah, it's very important we have a talk, because there's also a guy there's a German professor that I refer to for glioblastomas who's amazing, and so we need to talk. All right, you guys, listen. I got to run because I got a thing going on. And fantastic this week. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Sawadee kap. Namaste. Aloha. And adios. And see you next week. Okay? Next week I'll be in Japan.